Dear students, I am Dr. Muhammad Asif Amir. I welcome you in ISP, Department of English. I hope all is well on your end at this critical and turbulent time of human history. These online classes have been arranged in order to save your precious time, and it is a special effort of ISP. I am going to teach you corpus linguistics, and this is the first lecture, Introduction to Corpus Linguistics. But before starting my lecture, I want to point out that you are MPhil students, and you know it very well that it is a research-oriented degree. So, at some point of time in the near future, you have to select your area of research, and then you have to choose some topic in order to start your research. Now, corpus linguistics is a vast area, and it is a multi-dimensional as well as modern type of linguistics, and it has a vast potential for research. So, right from the beginning, you must keep in mind that you have to search for an area, and this particular component of your course provides you a chance for that selection. Now, dear students, we start our lecture. First of all, I would like to give you the outlines of today's lesson. We are going to define corpus linguistics. Then we will also define what is corpus. We will also discuss the types of corpora, and at the end of the lesson I would like to give you some exercises which you have to solve. Now, what is corpus linguistics? The first definition is corpus linguistics approaches the study of language in use through corpora. Now, this is also an approach, and in this approach we study the language. But what is particular about this approach of studying language? That we study language through corpora. Then another a bit detailed definition of corpus linguistics is corpus linguistics is the analysis of naturally occurring language on the basis of computerized corpora. Now again, it is an analysis of a naturally occurring language, the language in use, but the difference and the base of this analysis is that we are using computerized corpora for that purpose. It means that for analysis and for study of the language, we are going to use this machine, computer. Usually the analysis is performed with the help of the computer, that is with specialized software. So why I was calling this component of your course as modern, and why it is in the market? Because we use a very modern machine, that is computer, for the analysis of the language, and for that purpose we use some very special kind of softwares, and with the help of and by utilizing and exploiting those softwares, we try to study the frequency, whatever the phenomenon we are going to investigate. So this is just a very limited kind of definition when I say that we will go for the study of the frequency. We are going to count or measure the frequency of the phenomena investigated. We will later see when we will go into the detail of this component, that how computer is being used for the exploitation and for studying and analysis of language. Many years back, it was unbelievable that a machine could study and analyze the human language. But this is happening in front of our very eyes. So that is one of the definition. And now we move towards the base of corpus linguistics, because we are going to study language, and that language would form a kind of corpus. Corpus is a Latin word, and it means mass or body, and the plural of corpus is corpora. So what is corpus? Let us focus. Corpus is a large principled collection of naturally occurring examples of language, stored electronically. So corpus is not some small body of language, it is very large. Then principled collection of naturally occurring examples of. Principal collection means we collect the examples of language according to some rule, by following some principle. It is not the haphazard miscellaneous collection of language, but it follows some rule, and it is stored electronically. The rule, what might be the rule that plays its part in the collection of electronically collected data? The rule may be, for example, that I am going to collect only the fiction of English literature. So this is the rule that will work behind my collection of corpus. Or I am going to collect, for example, the novels of Jane Austen. The 6 novels written by Jane Austen will be collected into a corpus. So that is the rule, because I am collecting the novels of a particular fiction writer. Or I may say that I am collecting the novels, the text of the novels of the 5 fiction writers of Victorian age. Again, a rule is working behind this collection. Or I say that I am collecting the newspapers, English newspapers published in Pakistan of last 10 years. Again, a mass or body that is the corpus, and it is being collected by following a rule. So this is the explanation of principled collection. Then a corpus can be defined as a systematic collection of naturally occurring texts. So again, it is systematic, it is organized kind of collection of corpus. And what we get further, the collection may be both written and spoken language. So it means that corpus does not means the collection of examples of written language, but even we can form a corpus consisting of spoken language. So I hope through these two definitions you have now become familiar with the term corpus. And next we will discuss the types of corpora. The first type is general or reference corpora. This means that the principle that works behind the collection of corpora that makes or that differentiates and that establishes the type of corpora. And the first type is general or reference corpora, very important kind and type of corpora. The first feature of this corpora is the text do not belong to a single type, subject or register. What do we mean by it? It means that the texts which are being collected in general or reference corpora will not be a kind of text that I have given the examples. For example, I was saying that I am going to collect the text of 6 novels of Jane Austen, but that is a single type text. Or when I said that I am going to collect the English newspapers, Pakistani English newspapers of last 10 years, that is single text type. So it would not form a general or reference corpora because it belongs to one subject. Or when I say that I am going to collect the legal cases of Lahore High Court, and I am going to collect that into a kind of corpora, that is the single register. And the reference corpora does not belong to a single type, subject or register. It means a general reference corpora will have different kind of text. It may have the advertisement text, it may have the text of newspapers, it may have some part or portion of fiction, and so on and so forth. Then general or reference corpora may be written or spoken or both. There is no limitation. And third feature of this corpora is text of one country or many countries. For example, we take an example that I am going to collect a corpus that would contain English newspaper published in Pakistan, the fiction written in English, Pakistani fiction written in English, then the advertisement leaflets, text of advertisement leaflets. So this would become the corpora of one country. But if I take the same kind of text from different countries, that would also be called general or reference corpora. So what is the object of collecting such kind of corpora? It represents language at the broadest level, because whatever the example we have taken, it contains the text of newspaper, it contains the text of fiction, it contains the text of advertisements. So it is actually representing language at the broadest level. And what is its use? It is used as a baseline for comparative study of features of language, because many kind of texts belonging to newspaper, advertisements, fiction are contained in this corpora. That is why we can use it as a comparative corpora. That is why it is called reference corpora, and it may be used as a baseline. Now, the examples of such kind of corpora are brown corpus, it contains 1 million words, and then LOB corpus, Lancaster Oslo Bergen corpus, it also consists of 1 million words. Then British National Corpus, it is a heavier kind of corpora consisting of 100 million words. Then the second type of corpora is specialized corpora. The first was general. This is a specific kind of corpora because the text belong to single type, text type, subject or register, very reverse of general or reference corpora. It contains the text of single type. Whatever the examples I quoted in the definition of corpora were all the examples of specialized corpora. For example, the text of the 6 novels of Jane Austen, single text type. The text of the English newspapers published in Pakistan of last 10 years, one or single text type. Then it represents a given type of text. For example, it is representing the text of newspapers, representing the text of novels, collected to study a specific purpose of language. That is the purpose of making or collecting such kind of corpora. We want to study some special quality of language, some specific feature of language, and that is why we are studying this corpora, or we are collecting this kind of corpora. It is always limited by time. As I was saying, that I am going to collect the English newspapers published in Pakistan of last 10 years. Of Pakistan, 10 year means time, limited by time. Of Pakistan, limited by area. And sometime some social setting or topic may also be the concern of such kind of corpora. Then, what are the examples of such kind of corpora? Can quote Cambridge, Nottingham, corpora of discourse English. Then, Michigan, corpora of academic spoken English. The first one consists of 5 million words, and the second one also consists of 5 million words. Then the next type of corpora is diachronic or historical corpora. This corpora will consist of texts over different periods of time. For example, we can take the example of the texts of English fiction writers of Victorian age. Then we can collect the texts of the fiction writers of English of modern era. So these are the different periods of time, and if we will collect these texts into single corpora, that would make diachronic or historical type of corpora. And what is the purpose of collecting such kind of corpora? It represents the state of language at an earlier stage. Or the other purpose may be looks at changes in language across a time frame. For example, if I say that I am going to collect the language examples of the 14th century English, then through that corpora I can study the state of language at that particular century. Or I can also study through that corpora over the centuries what kind of changes have taken place in this language. The example of such kind of corpora is Helsinki corpus that consists of 1.5 million words. Another type of corpora is learner's corpora, a corpora consisting of samples of language, both written and spoken, produced by learners, that is non-native people. So this corpora consists of the language examples written by non-native people for whom that particular language is not the first language. These are the learners of the second language, and they are non-native people because that particular language is not their first language. For example, if in Pakistan we collect the language examples, both written or spoken, these may be of Pakistani people, how they write English and how they speak English, then this corpora would be learners corpora, because we are learners of this language, and secondly, this is not our first language. It is to measure the frequency of words, number one, if we want to study and if we want to measure the frequency of words used by Pakistani English speakers, this corpora would help us. Then we can also judge the errors committed by non-native people, and what is the difference of the use of language between native and non-native speakers or writers. If we want to study these features, such kind of corpora would help us. International corpora or learners English that consists of 20,000 words. It is an example of learners corpora. The next type of corpora is multilingual corpora. A corpus consisting of two or more language, as the name of this corpora suggests. It is multilingual, consisting of two or more languages. For example, we collect corpora of both English and Urdu, and we keep the examples of Urdu language and English language in one corpus. That will make a multilingual corpus. Similarly, we can increase the number of languages, and examples of different languages can be collected in a single corpus, such corpus will be called multilingual. Similarly, there could be bilingual corpus consisting of only two languages, and similarly monolingual corpus will consist of the language examples of just one language. Another type of corpus is parallel corpus, a corpus with both a target language L2 and first language L1. So parallel corpus is actually used to make comparisons. It is a kind of comparative corpus because it will contain the examples of both the languages. One language is the target language, and the target language is that language which we want to study, and we have to compare the examples of that language to some corpus which consists of the examples of L1, that is the first language. Now what could be their examples? For example, we want to study some feature of Urdu language, and we gather the examples of Urdu language. This would be the target language, that is L2, and the first language with which we want to compare, for example, it is English, that would be L1 or the first language. And if we form or collect a corpus consisting of the examples of both these languages, and we collect those languages in a single corpus, that would be a parallel corpus. Then tag corpus, a corpus with annotation. For example, we annotate parts of speech, we tag parts of speech. We will go into the detail of tag corpus, and we are going to do it practically in near future. Then target corpus, a corpus that is compared to a reference corpus. We have already studied the reference or general corpus, and if we, for example, the general or reference corpus may be the British National Corpus, BNC, and we want to compare Pakistani English variety with the British English. So the Pakistani English corpus that we would collect, that would be the target corpus, and it would be compared with the reference or general corpus of BNC. Now these were the main types of corpus. There are other types of corpus, depends upon its use, but at present these are enough for us. We should know about these types of corpus or types of corpora at present. Now we move to the next phase, and that is exercises. These exercises are based upon the same lesson that we have studied, so I think it would not be difficult for you, problematic for you to solve these exercises if you focus this lesson. And I have set only one question for you. There are two definitions. You have to give the definitions of corpus linguistics and corpora, and you have also you have to give the types of corpora. So you will write the answer of these exercises, and you will send me a soft copy. You can have my email address from ISP. Similarly, you can have my phone number. You can use that phone number to call me, or you can send me WhatsApp. If you have any question, you can send me even SMS. I will always be there to respond you, and hopefully you have enjoyed and you have gathered something out of this lesson. Now we come to the end of our today's lesson. Khuda Hafiz. Stay safe.